Okay, 7.2. 7.1, we did addition and subtraction. And today, we are going to do multiplying polynomials. And specifically, when we get into multiplying polynomials, we are going to be doing a bunch of binomial times binomial. And when I am multiplying two binomials together, we can use something that's called a mnemonic. Like, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is a mnemonic for order of operations that I just call PEMDAS. And there is a mnemonic that goes along with multiplying polynomials, and specifically, it only works for a binomial times binomial, but it is FOIL. FOIL. I'm going to refer to this as distribution because that's what FOIL is. It's distribution, and when I have a binomial times a binomial, I have double distribution. F is for first terms. O is for the outer terms. I is for the inner terms. And L is for the last term. So we're going to look at a binomial times a binomial. It's going to be the same one each time, so I'm going to write it. X plus 1 times x plus 2. X plus 1 times x plus 2. And I am just writing this out to show you where this comes from. When I'm solving these problems, I am certainly not going to write it out like this every time, but this is just so we can all be on the same page. The F is the first terms of the binomial. And if I think about distribution, if I just had, let's say, that 1 in front of there, and if it was a negative 1, and I said distribute, you would take the negative 1 and multiply it by both terms. Negative 1 times x, negative x times 2. This is double distribution. I need to multiply this x times the x, and then the x times the 2. And then I need to multiply the 1 times the x and the 1 times the 2. Then I will be able to combine like terms, write this in standard form, and I will have a trinomial as my answer. But we're going to break this down step by step. The first terms I'm talking about are right here. That is x times x. And back to chapter 6, x times x, same base, add my exponents is my rule. X times x is x squared. Then I look to the outer terms. And again, I'm just following distribution. X was multiplied by x. X also has to be multiplied by 2. So that step is x times 2, which is 2x. Do I have to write it out every time like this? Maybe, if I'm not getting correct answers, but as we move on, you will get very efficient at doing these. Now, I just multiplied the x by both terms. Now I got to multiply this 1. These are my inner terms, right there. They're the ones on the inside. So that is 1 times x, which is just x. And then I have the last terms, and there's talking about the last terms in each of these binomials. That is then 1 times 2, which gives me an answer of 2. Notice, especially when I have when I have variables that are the same power, especially with a binomial times a binomial, you're always going to have some like terms to combine here. 2x plus an x is 3x. This is the resulting trinomial. And I got it. That is FOIL. It is double distribution. It is distribution. Here's an example. X subtract 3 times x subtract 6. And again, I'm going to draw this out, but my days of doing this are coming to an end. X times x, this is the f part of that. I'm not gonna write it out like this. I'm not gonna write x times x. I'm just gonna go x times x is x squared. Then I gotta take that x and multiply it by -6. X times -6 is -6x. That's the O part. That takes care of multiplying that x by both of these terms. I now do those inner terms, which is -3 times x, or a -3x, and then I take that -3 and I multiply it by a -6, which is a +18. Remember, this is your L, and this is my I, and that's where that FOIL comes from. I've got some light terms right here in the middle. I have x squared minus 9x plus 18. And yes, I want to write this in standard form. Greatest to least exponent. Excuse me. Another thing I want us to really start looking for, though, is start piecing how this goes together. Especially with a binomial times a binomial, there's a definitive pattern that's going to develop with these. And that pattern is going to help us in a section or two when I give you this trinomial and I ask you to write the two binomials that made that. What two binomials did I multiply together to get this? I will give you this, and we are going to go here now. So the better I understand how this comes, the better off I'll be. It's a great day at Marshall Middle School.